Hello viewers, Aubrey Anderson here. Today we're going to be discussing how to start your seeds indoors for your early spring garden. Have you ever thought about starting your seeds indoors before, whether it's easy or whether it's going to be hard, whether you're going to lose all of them or not, or even if it's going to be worth your time? Sometimes those are questions we ask ourselves before we get started, but it really isn't that hard. So today's video, we're going to guide you through a few simple steps that'll help get you started. So the goal to getting your seeds started indoors is to have them ready to be transplanted whenever the weather is favorable in your growing zone. I've actually chosen a Sweetheart cherry tomato variety for our process today because tomato seeds seem to be pretty easy to germinate, and they're also a very common vegetable that we see in most of our home gardens. But your varieties might look a little bit different than mine, so you'll always want to refer to the back of your seed packets where you can find some more in-depth seed starting instructions. It also might indicate when to sow indoors, and that's usually based off of your first frost date. That is also dependent on what your growing zone is, and if you don't know what your growing zone is, you can always look that up online or refer to the Farmer's Almanac, which is a really great guide for all gardeners. So once you feel like you have a pretty good hold on your specific seed planting instructions, it is time to get a container. I'm actually going to be using an actual seed starting tray. It's designated with all of our cell packs, even the holes in the bottom for drainage. All of that is already there for me, ready to go. I've pre-filled my tray with soil, a seed starting mix, and wetted that down. But if you don't have access to a seed starting tray like I do, I've seen people use all types of recycled material, anywhere from eggshells to Dixie cups, and even little Gatorade bottles cut in half. Just as long as you have about 2 to 3 inches of soil depth and then holes in the bottom for drainage, you're good to go. So use your imagination there and get your containers ready. Fill them with a seed starting mix. It's actually a little bit lighter than most soil in the store, but you will be able to access that as well online or in the stores. But just fill your trays with that and we'll get those pre-wetted for planting. So once you have your containers prepared, it's time to start planting our seeds. As I mentioned previously, I'm going to be doing the Sweetheart cherry tomato variety. Tomatoes are a very small seed, so we're actually only going to need about 1/8 of an inch planting depth when we're sowing these. So all I need to do is just lightly scratch the surface of my soil. I don't need to make a divot or even stick my finger and make a hole or anything like that. For tomato seeds specifically, we just want to scratch the surface and just lay them out over the top. I'm going to be planting about 1 seed per cell. I've known some people to do 2 seeds per cell just to make up for if one doesn't germinate or so on and so forth. So you can do 2 seeds per cell if you'd like or per container, but as for me, I'm just going to stick to 1 seed per cell. And once I have all of these seeds planted, I'm going to go back over and cover them with a light soil medium, nothing heavy, nothing with wood chips or anything in it that might hinder our emergence process for our seedlings. I think everybody's ready to be covered up now. Just want to lightly cover that, just enough to where you can't see the seed anymore. Even any uneven soil mounds out with your hand if you'd like. Okay, so I've got all my tomato seeds covered, planted, in nice pre-wetted soil, but I want to water them one last time just to make sure that they're good and wet for the growing process. And you should start seeing some growth in about 7 to 10 days. I usually start seeing my tomato seeds sprout up in that time. Just keep them in a nice lighted area. Make sure they're getting adequate light and water throughout. Don't let them dry out in the beginning. It's very important to keep your seedlings moist in the beginning. All right, and there you have it. Just a few simple steps to help you get your seeds started indoors and get a jump start on your growing season. I really hope that these were some helpful hints, and just keep it simple, folks, and happy gardening.